The Toronto Raptors lost their second straight game to start off the new NBA season, 119-114 to the San Antonio Spurs. So we ask, is it time for Toronto Raptors fans to start worrying about the new NBA season? We break it all down for you in the Raptors Roundup. Welcome to Amateur Sports, where we give you NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. Today is the Raptors Roundup, where we give you a game breakdown of what happened in the game that we just saw happen. This time it was against the San Antonio Spurs in Game 2 of this NBA season. So what we do in these videos, we give a little bit of an intro to the game, then we go into a synopsis of what happened through all 4 quarters, then we give our takeaways of what happened in the game, and then we look onto the future. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below to stay up to date with all the content coming your way as this season starts to heat up. And onto the video, I really thought we would be talking about a Toronto Raptors victory today. I was happy all day, excited all day. I really felt the Raptors would bounce back to that ugly loss against the Pelicans by winning against the Spurs. And, losing to the Pelicans, who I think are probably going to be a playoff team this season. Okay, first game jitters. It's okay, 71 games to go. Now we play the Spurs, who, let's be honest, this is not a playoff team. This San Antonio Spurs team, this team's not making the playoffs. And the Raptors really did not have control of the second, third, and fourth quarter. They came out the gates hot, and I thought that this was their bounce back and they would cruise to a win, but that did not happen at all. So let's get into the synopsis of what we saw in that game. Let's go to the first quarter, where the Raptors had a very electric start. They looked good on offense. Fred VanVleet looked very confident, hitting threes. Aaron Baines was getting busy on the interior, was shooting very well early on, had an early 9 points. We were making every possession count on offense. And then on defense, even though we had a 10-point lead, I think it was 24-14, it started slipping away because the Raptors on defense were allowing a lot of open 3 looks, and this was kind of the tale of most of the game, especially in the corners. The Raptors were kind of doing their business on the defensive end. They've got their Nick Nurse rotation going, but then the corner 3 was always left open, and the San Antonio Spurs completely exploited this. They had so many good looks from the corners, especially guys like Patty Mills. It was so frustrating throughout the game watching Patty Mills get open look after open look. Did you really not do your homework on this? Everybody knows the kind of shooting Patty Mills can produce. You do not leave that guy open. If you're going to mop up after, leave the corner open. Just mop it up after. It can't be Patty Mills the one doing that, because he was 5 for 6 from 3 in the game. But still, even with this happening on defense, the Raptors offense was still producing. Chris Boucher had a career night, really. And it all started in the first quarter, came off the bench, was getting blocks, was getting offensive rebounds, was putting up points, hitting threes, doing well. Siakam looked like he was in the game, really playing well. But the threes kept raining from the Spurs, and all of a sudden, DeMar DeRozan showed that he can be a lethal shooter. DeMar DeRozan last season, in its entirety, the entirety of last season, hit 9 3-pointers. 9. Last night, he hit 3 against the Toronto Raptors and almost had 4, if not for a toe on the line. But despite that, the Raptors doing well in the first quarter, really doing well in the first quarter. It looks like this is a game that we can win, and we can win to a decently comfortable degree. But then the second quarter happens, and then it all turns away. The Raps could not defend threes in transition, and to be honest, the refs were not allowing us to get to the line, and they were continuing to bail out the Spurs. This started in the second quarter and happened throughout the rest of the game. Now, I'm not going to completely put blame on the refs, but the refs were not good, and the refs were definitely not in the Raptors' favor last night. Now, I could blame the Raptors for their performance for the loss, but the refs were not good, and the refs did us no favors. But they did a lot of favors for the Spurs, putting Kyle Lowry in foul trouble, especially Jakob Poeltl was setting a screen on the perimeter and literally stepped into Kyle Lowry with his leg, stuck out his thigh as Kyle Lowry was running past him. And Kyle Lowry got a foul called against him. I could not believe it. We were not getting attempts at the line in the first half. The Spurs were chipping away at the lead and eventually got themselves back in the game. Now, that was also down to the Raptors' poor transition defense, where again, they really struggled to defend the 3 in transition. Do I really need to say again how good of a shooter Patty Mills is? You should pick that guy up in transition. OG brought his shooting woes from the first game of the season into this game as well, and just poor shooting allowed the Spurs to take control of this game. We went 5 minutes, I think it was from the 7-minute mark to the 2-minute mark, without a bucket. And obviously, when you're playing the NBA and you go 5 minutes without a bucket, the other team is going to continue to do their thing. And the Spurs did their thing and took complete control of the game. And on the defensive end, we were struggling on help defense. When guys got blown by on the perimeter, because, DeRozan, guys like him were cooking last night, no help defense was showing up, and that was also very frustrating to watch because this is a Raptors team, who prides themselves on their defense, and it was really lacking in this game. And the offense, they were still creating good looks. It was frustrating to watch. We were still getting good looks from three, but OG was hitting nothing. Norman Powell played 17 minutes and didn't get a single point. Come on, man. Come on. The refs continued to bail out the Spurs. Our defense continued to suck. Our shooting continued to struggle. And we go into half. And, we're lucky. We're lucky to be in a game in the second half, to be honest. We go into half. Time to regroup. Still a lot of basketball. Still in this game completely. We start the second half in a one-possession game. And we still really can't get the shooting going. Finally, the offense started to look good again, but the defense continued to struggle. Still afforded Patty Mills some good looks. DeRozan was still getting busy all over the place. DeRozan had a really good night yesterday. You really saw the talent that DeMar DeRozan possesses, why he should have been an all-star last year. OG struggled to guard him, and also OG really struggled on offense and continued to struggle on offense. And the Raptors continued to create good looks for players, but still could not hit their three-pointers. Very frustrating to watch that again for a team who's quite good at shooting threes, really. Fred VanVleet, a great three-point shooter. Kyle Lowry as well. Siakam is above average. OG Anunoby is a very good shooter. And Matt Thomas, one of the best shooters in the league, started missing some open looks. Still finished the game with a decent percentage, but was starting to miss some open looks that he doesn't normally miss. It was very telling that the two players who were going to really help us win this game were bigs, Boucher and Aaron Baines. They both had fantastic games. Chris Boucher in particular finished with 7 blocks, 22 points. He was going crazy on the court. But we never saw them on the court together. And this is one of my beefs with the game. We showed a complete lack of adaptability. We could not adapt to the game that was happening. Throughout the entire game, we played only 8 guys in serviceable minutes. The 9th guy, DeAndre Bembry, got 5 minutes. But we kept pushing the same players, the same rotations, the same plays. And even though it was struggling, it wasn't working very well, we showed no desire to adapt to the game. We showed no desire to go big. When the Raptors going tough last year, they could put Gasol and Ibaka on the court at the same time. At no point did we see Aaron Baines and Chris Boucher on the floor when we were getting dominated on the offensive glass? And ultimately, one of our downfalls of the game was allowing offensive rebound. Having those two guys on the floor going big, I think, would have made a huge difference in the game because the shots weren't falling from 3, so why not try to force your points on the interior instead? Also, Chris Boucher and Aaron Baines, guys who can spread the floor. Chris Boucher was shooting the 3-ball very well last night. It made no sense why we never tried that once. Also, again, Norman Powell, 17 minutes, no points. Was that really good enough to keep Malachi Flynn off the court or Terrence Davis off the court? Could we not have tried something different, trying to change the dynamic and the momentum of the game? There were bad misses everywhere, and as the Spurs were going on runs, I was thinking to myself, where is the bucket going to come from? When the Spurs are on a 9-0, 10-0 run, where is that one momentum shifting bucket going to come? When the Raptors are really struggling, can't hit anything, where is the guy we're just going to give the ball to and say, go get our bucket, go change the momentum of the game? Late on in the game, the Raptors were up 114-110. And the Spurs go on a 9-0 run in the last 2.5 minutes to close out the game. We don't get a single point for the last 2 minutes. Where is our guy that is going to get the ball and will it into the basket? The Raptors are seriously missing that. Can Pascal Siakam be that guy? We haven't seen it yet this season. We need to see Pascal Siakam in those big situations. Siakam, I think, has been quite good in the 2 games, quite frankly. A ton of rebounds yesterday. I think he got 14 or more than 14, 16 points, which definitely dried up in the fourth quarter, wasn't getting points in the fourth quarter. So despite having a good game, can you do that in the big moments when the Spurs are taking control of the game? Can you swing the momentum of the game with a big bucket, get busy in the paint, hit a big shot from the perimeter? There's nobody that I saw yesterday who was willing to take on that role for the Raptors. Maybe Kyle Lowry, but didn't see it enough. And then late on in the game, we really let the Spurs take control when Patty Mills got back-to-back offensive rebounds, I think it was. And I think it led to a foul that put the Spurs up by 115-114, or maybe it made it 116-114. Regardless, offensive boards hurt us late. And I'm screaming, why have we not tried Baines and Boucher on the floor together? And it was really telling in this game that the Spurs are a big team, but they bullied us. But we have the players to combat that, and they were completely underutilized in this game. Guys who could have made a difference off the bench. We're known for being a deep team with so much depth. We didn't use it. We only really used 8 players. And Norman Powell, again, playing 17 minutes, didn't get a single point. Why was there just this stubbornness about the Raptors to not change anything in the game? So the Raptors close out the fourth quarter, and the Spurs get a 9-0 run to finish off the game and ultimately win the game. A very winnable game for the Raptors, but they struggled and ultimately deserved to lose. I thought they deserved to win that Pelicans game. Just shooting let us down. They did not deserve to get anything out of this San Antonio game. So now that I've blown off my steam, we've gone through our synopsis of the game. Let's go into the takeaways from this game. What did we learn from this game? Well, the first thing, obviously, you learned from me screaming about it, is our lack of ability to change the plan, to try something new, to try to shift momentum. We just pound this same game plan throughout the entire game, and if it's not working, we go, okay, it's going to start to work at some point. There's no desire to try something different. The offense looks very one-dimensional, and it gets figured out very early because the Pelicans, we had a good first half, but then the Pelicans take over in the second half. The Spurs, we had a good first quarter, but then the Spurs take over for the rest of the game. And despite it, it was a close game throughout, but the Raptors never really had control of that game after the first quarter ended. And again, don't know why we didn't try to go big. Don't know why we didn't try to play Malachi Flynn or Terrence Davis at all when the offense was really struggling. Just game changers. Bring in a game changer to try to shake things up. It just never happened. Another takeaway is that I think we are still too small. I don't think we're actually too small from a roster standpoint. I just think we go too small. Try to go big at some points. Try to play Boucher and Aaron Baines together on the court. Last season, Aaron Baines had a lot of minutes on the court with DeAndre Ayton, 2 proper bigs playing together. And the Suns statistically thrived when they were both on the court. So don't tell me it wouldn't, there's no way it would work, because Chris Boucher was hitting his threes. He could definitely be the power forward in that scenario. Aaron Baines was doing quite well on the interior on offense. I think Aaron Baines needs to slightly improve his ability on defense, on that help defense. Sometimes he was a little late in his rotation, but ultimately still did quite well in my opinion. And the third and probably most important takeaway is that, the Raptors, some of these guys got to look themselves in the mirror and just say, can I be the guy that is going to get us the bucket? Get us the bucket when the game is going tough, we're on the run against us, or it's late on 2 minutes to go, 1-point game. Who is going to be that guy who just gets us the bucket? Because Fred VanVleet has had many opportunities to do it, and he had the opportunity in this game. You know what? Got a very good look off an Aaron Baines screen as time was winding down, and it was a 3-point game. Bricked his 3. A good look. Got a good look there. Didn't hit the shot. Siakam, did he get a fourth quarter point? It really escapes my memory if he did. I just don't think he got a point in the fourth quarter. Also shot 0 for 5 from 3 in the game. That just needs to be better. That just can't happen when you're Pascal Siakam. So a lot of reflecting to do, and let's answer the question from the intro. Should Raptors fans be worried about what they saw? I think, yeah, you can start to worry a little bit. Ultimately, there's so much time left. There are 70 games left in the season, but I think, you got to start to look at this and feel a little bit nervous about, okay, when we do play a good team, are we going to have the guys to just get it done in the clutch, to get the ball in the basket when we need it to happen, when there's a run against us and we haven't had a bucket in 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes? Who is just going to get it done for us? And I can't name a guy on this team that is going to be able to do that. And for that reason, I am a little bit nervous. Pascal Siakam, I think he needs another 5 games to really get his feet under him, really get going. And if he doesn't have it by that point, then there are some problems. Let's see if we can adapt. We didn't show it in the Pelicans game. We didn't show it here, our ability to adapt. But let's see what this fantastic coaching staff, what the coach of the year, Nick Nurse, can do to fix this for the next game. Next up, we got the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Raptors have 7 of their next 9 games on the road. This is going to be a tough stretch, and it's very easy for any team, no matter how talented they are, to really start, slipping away if the losses keep piling up early on. And the Raptors need to get things sorted. I think this would be a very big statement win if they were to beat the Philadelphia 76ers, but you absolutely cannot go small ball against the 76ers. Look, you got to get some bigger players involved. You got to, I think, get Alex Len involved at some points in the 76ers game, and I think Aaron Baines and Chris Boucher need to be on the court together at some point. We'll see what happens when we go into that game, but very unhappy with what happened in the Spurs game. So I think this is going to turn into a very long video. I just have so many thoughts, and I'm sharing so many frustrations about this game because it really sent me to my boiling point last night watching the game. Very frustrating, but still believe in the players. I still believe in the coaching staff to, set it right. It's only 2 games. It's only 2 games. As mad as I am, and, as easy it is to jump to conclusions, 2 games in, there are 70 more games to go. Let's just play it out. Let's see how we do in the next game. Let's see, let's evaluate. I think you can evaluate really after 8 to 10 games. You can really evaluate a team and go, okay, time to make drastic changes. So lots of basketball to be played. We'll see what happens. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions on this game in the comments down below. Are you worried as a Raptors fan for what you saw in the Spurs game and in the Pelicans game? Do you think we need to make drastic changes yet? Do you think we need to wait? Let me know everything you have on your mind. But that wraps it up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, please like the video if you like, and subscribe to Amateur Sports for more content just like this. You'll get a Raptors Roundup pretty much for every game we see over the course of the NBA season, and mixed in with that, you're going to see a lot of other videos where I give my opinion on various news topics, such as can Pascal Siakam be the best player on a team, lead us to the playoffs, or should the Raptors trade for James Harden? Those videos coming up very soon. Stay tuned for that. Happy holidays to everybody here, and Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates that holiday. Hope everybody's having great holidays so far, and I really hope for our sake over the next little while we can see some Raptors victories. At the end of the day, I believe what I say. If you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.